I can't believe I'm finally doing this. I'm gonna change the color because this is way too pink. Is that better? Yes. So I'm going to share with you what I've been working on for the past month. So it's currently October 7th. We are in week 1 of the Lettering Style Challenge, which is a lettering challenge that I am hosting and participating in for the month of October. I have been working a lot on this project and I wanted to share with you kind of the behind the scene and the process of how I do it. And I'm gonna share with you in this video exactly how I tackle a prompt from start to finish. So I'm gonna show you exactly how... This was the cat. I'm gonna share how I pick the prompt, how I do the research, how I develop the idea, how I start sketching, how I then go to Procreate and start refining my lettering, how I then add the colors, and then how I kind of add the details and stuff like that. So I'm gonna share all of the process with you guys and show you in real time how I would tackle a prompt from start to finish, and hopefully you'll get some insight into my workflow. So I'm trying, first of all, to be a little bit ahead, and I'm trying to make the prompts before the day because I'm spending a lot of time as well working on sharing it on social media and making videos, making reels, and I pretty much spend between 6 to 8 hours on a prompt, and I worked on it for a day, and I can't do more than 1 prompt per day. So with all I have to do, I need to be ahead. So I need to be ahead of time, and I need to have a couple of prompts done before the actual day. So it's currently October 7 and I am up to prompt 15 already. So I have done everything up to prompt 15, which is the halfway mark, but I am slowing down a bit, so this is not good. So I'm gonna try and keep up with the rhythm that I've had from the beginning, from the start, and share with you my next prompt. So let's get started. Okay, let's begin. Let's go and have a look. As I was saying earlier, we are up to day 7. So today is Comic, the Jungle Book. I have done all of the prompts up to day 15. So by the time you see this video, I will have done all of those, so I don't mind sharing them with you guys. Today is prompt 16. I'm working on prompt 16, which is condensed, and I have chosen the book Games of Thrones. Let's just begin by doing a bit of research. I love to just Google the name of the book first. Then what I do is very simple, is just go on Google and try and find related images, things that could represent the book, elements that I could incorporate. It's very interesting because like all of the fonts, this is Trajan Pro. It's just so simple. Like it's not a bad font or anything, but I really feel like we can do something more. Yeah, there's not much, like there's nothing really representing the book apart from this like sword, the dragon, the throne. Let's see what we can find on Pinterest. So usually Pinterest has a lot of more creative artworks, creative visuals. Got a few more elements that are very interesting. The map is really cool. I love the map actually. That could be something to play with. I love the scale. I love the dragons. I think there is something there that I could play with. As you can see here, I'm already thinking about what elements I could use and just getting a vibe of the book. And yeah, it's very, very interesting so far. There isn't much fan art like compared to something like Harry Potter, for example. I like the thorns as well, like something I could play with. Scale, thorn, the sword, the dragon scales, and the map. I think I could do something with the map. That would be really cool. All right, let's grab a notebook and start drawing. Okay, so the next thing I do is grab, so this was the prompt from yesterday, which is done now, so I can move on to day 16. First thing I do is literally jot down some ideas, so the words like scales, dragon, map, I'm gonna write that down. And first of all, I'm gonna sharpen this pencil. All right. This is the part where I double check the name of the author, the actual name of the book if I didn't get it wrong, because as you can see here I added an S at the end, but there is no S. I don't know why I did that. It's A Game of Thrones, and the actual TV show is Game of Thrones, but the book is A Game of Thrones. So what I like to do here is just draw a very tiny thumbnail sketch, so as tiny as possible, so I cannot add too many details, and it's just so I can figure out the composition. With this piece in particular, I'm thinking of doing something very symmetrical. I always do that, so I want to go with something that's inside of my comfort zone for this one, because I actually find this book very challenging to do. I'm going to stick with something that I like, so I know it's going to work. What I'm going to be doing different is, so this word thrones is going to be condensed. That's going to be a condensed word. Maybe the word game as well, we'll see. But I want to play with like letters that, like this type of like rounded baseline and cap height. So the guides are going to be slightly arched, so I can fit in the word of just in the center. And this is the shape I'm going to use for the lettering. I think something very blocky and pointy serif like that, because I think that would go perfectly with the book. And I'm just positioning the smaller words, because they can be small because they're not so important. And then this is going to go probably like that. And this is going to be super condensed. Roughly, this is what it's going to look like. I am going to use the R to create like a cool flourish down the bottom. It's just the perfect letter for that. And then I'll probably add some cool like flourishes down the bottom. I'll see, the word games I feel like needs to be a different font. I think it would look cool if it was contrasting with this very condensed typeface. That way, this will look even more condensed, if that makes sense. So if I have like a very blocky typeface here, therefore the contrast between the two typefaces is going to stand out. So I'm happy with that. I think this is really going to work. I can add like some type of flourishes here. I'm thinking of going with like a very dark and very gold color palette for this one. Maybe a touch of red, we'll see. I don't know how just yet, but I want to incorporate this pattern, this dragon scales, and then maybe at the bottom I'll have like a scroll, which is something I've done a lot in those prompts so far, and I think that will tie everything together as a series, so I don't mind using that again. With the paper scroll, I can make it look like a map, so like the paper of the map. This is what it looks like so far. We'll see how it goes. As you can see, I've got a couple of like thumbnail sketches. But then what I like to do is move on to the next page and make a bigger thumbnail where I can then add more details and really figure out what typeface I'm going to be using. So let's go ahead and do that. So when I draw my letter forms like that, I draw from memory, but when I then refine them, I still draw the whole thing myself, but I will have some type of classic typeface next to me so I can make sure the proportions are correct. For example, I know where the heavy part is going to go, and I always have some sort of reference next to me just to ensure that what I'm doing is technically correct from a typographic point of view. And that way I can ensure that everything is looking normal. Usually if you have something on your artwork that doesn't look quite correct, just take a step back and do your research, have a look at what's out there, and if you're struggling, for example, with the letter S, to make it look the way you want to, maybe there's something that you're doing wrong, so don't hesitate to have a look at existing typefaces. It's not about copying, it's just about making sure that you're doing it the right way. So do your research. Usually if it looks wrong to you, it will look wrong to someone else as well. So make sure you always use references. This is kind of cool. Then we need something very condensed here, because obviously that's the prompt of the day. I'm not sure just yet if I'm going to go with something more rounded or more blocky for this typeface. We'll see. I'm just positioning the skeleton. I like to call that the skeleton because I think it really makes sense, because it's just the inside of the letter. It is the skeleton. That way I can figure out, okay, this is wrong, there's something wrong here. So let me grab my eraser. Like, there is not enough room for the O here, so I'm just gonna make it a bit bigger. Move everything to the right, shuffle everything over there, and then I can play around with some massive flourish, something quite big. I'm gonna make it look like, I don't know, maybe like a fiery type of flourish with like, you know, things going out like that. We'll see. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go with something more rounded that will tie in better, instead of like going with like the blocky type of condense typeface. And I'm gonna go with a serif typeface. I think that would be way better. Still not sure yet what I'm doing there, but at least I know where this is going. I've got a rough idea of what I'm doing, and there's like blank space here. I can add some stuff. I can add some flourishes here, maybe something that resembles that one at the bottom, so that everything is like working as a whole. Everything is consistent. And I'll be using the symmetry tool in Procreate, so I only just need to worry about drawing one side. And that makes the whole thing a lot easier. And it just looks more professional as well, because it looks like everything's like really well done. In art, being able to draw perfectly symmetrical element is a skill. And in Procreate, it's so easy. Do it. I have a blank file which is the size of all of my prompts. I have created some guides in there, so all I have to do when I create a new prompt is select this blank file and just hit duplicate. Now I can just take a photo of my sketch, so I'm just going into action, add, and take a photo. just lower the opacity and I can start sketching. Let's move on to the refine sketch. This is where I refine the lettering, I refine the composition. As I was saying to my student, this is the type of sketch that I would give my client. So if I was doing a commission project, this is a sketch I would give as a proof to make sure the client is happy with the direction, and then I can keep going. This step usually only takes the sketching part that you've seen before. Usually it takes about 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and then the sketch an hour or so, and then the rest is what is taking me so long. The first step here is to draw some guidelines, and this is the most important in my opinion. This is going to ensure that everything you're doing is lining up correctly, everything is symmetrical, centered, and I have this very big gap between the edge of my canvas and the start of the text. So this is the safe text area, and I think this is very important on a book cover to have a really big gap and not have any text too close to the edge. Just giving you an update, guys. I am working on the font condensed, and I think I'm gonna condense it a little bit more, and I kind of like that I did this because it's like condensed but vertically as well, not just horizontally. Yeah, this is how usually I draw my letters. You've seen that I start with the easiest letter, the H, and then I can use the stroke and kind of recycle elements. I'm not too happy with the O so far. The R is still a work in progress. I haven't worked on the crossbar of the H and the E, but I'm like, I can do something really cool here. That's a cat hair. Maybe do something that's symmetrical, because the crossbar of the H and the E are exactly on the same level, and that could look really nice. So let's see how this goes. I'm working on the crossbar now, and this is just perfectly exactly in the same place. As you can see, if I draw the crossbar of the H, it's exactly the same spot as the E, which is really cool. It doesn't happen all the time with lettering. Like, it's quite rare that you have something like that happening. So take advantage of that, I would say. With this very sharp and pointy serif. I think I'm gonna go with a bevel for this one. I think this is probably the best option. Not really sure just yet, but yeah, we've got the final sketch. So this is the sketch that I would give to a client just to make sure they're happy with the direction before moving on to adding the details and all of that. looks like a sword. This is the goal. Those letters are meant to be super pointy, super sharp, very spiky, so that they resemble a sword. And I thought this would look cool. I went for this type at the beginning with the curls like that, and I'm like, this is not Games of Thrones at all. What can I do instead that resemble more of a sword? And I thought, what if I just keep it straight like that? And I thought, why not add this? And it works. This is my drawing process, guys. It's just very intuitive. Like, I try different things, see what works, see what doesn't, and I just keep going like that, adding little details. Now that I've got the main frame, the basic skeleton, I have positioned my colors, all of my shapes. It's just a lot easier to add details. Like, I would never add details before I've done all of that, like before I've done all of the framing work, all of the composition, and I have my typeface ready to go. This is gonna go. This is just a reference. I think this is looking really interesting. And this is what I wanted with this challenge. I wanted to really focus on the type more, really experiment with different fonts, try to tell the story with the letters. So that was my idea behind the challenge, to really show that you can convey a message with your letter forms. They have personalities, and that's really what I'm trying to demonstrate with this challenge. Okay, so this is the part where I like to take a break, do something else, where I'm like, okay, I really have to trust the process, because so far I'm like, this is not what I envisioned. It's not that I don't like it, it's more that I want to take it further and I need a break. I'm going to take a break. What I like to do is, at this stage when I'm adding lots of details and really fine-tuning everything, I like to do that in a different setting. So I like to usually get on the couch, watch some TV show in the background and just draw the details, because it's the part where I don't need to concentrate so much. The skeleton is already there. I just need to add tiny little details. And this is the part where I need to really step away from the artwork, stop zooming so much, and really figure out if everything is like cohesive and works together. I'm gonna take a break, I'm gonna do some training and get back to it later. And I'll probably share with you a time lapse so you can see all of the tiny little shading work, which takes a lot of time, but it's the easiest part. It's the part where I don't need to really concentrate and think too much. So let's go. I'm gonna give you an update, guys. I have been adding quite a few details, as you can tell. I have added some lace type of effect on here. I have added some little zigzag over there, some little decoration on the corners, trying to keep it in theme, kind of Celtic, dragon-like, I suppose. I'm going to make some updates. A few things I'm still not happy with. For example, the lettering for the author's name is just too big. I'm just gonna make it a little bit smaller and increase the kerning. I am going to add something on this type here just to make it a bit more rough and not so pink and cute. I still need to add the filigrees in the background, add a bit of highlight on this frame. Then we should be kind of good to go. I still want to include some type of dragon scale somewhere. Still not sure how I'm going to do that, so let's keep working on it. Now that I'm looking at it, I'm thinking that maybe the crossbar of the E going all the way up to the N makes it a little bit hard to read. Like this could be read as an H in the middle. So what I'm gonna aim at doing is just shorten that crossbar of the E so that it doesn't touch the N. So I'm gonna fix that now and see if that makes any difference. Okay, it does make a difference. I think this is much better. I'm done. I've spent way too much time on this. Let's have a look. Canvas information, statistics, 8 hours and 14 minutes. This is the maximum I'm allowed to spend on each prompt. We've done it. This is what it looks like. I'm just going to flatten everything up. I have made a backup, don't worry guys. And now what I'm going to do is go into Photoshop and simply put that on a mocap. Adding a bit of noise and a bit of chromatic aberration, just 4% of each. That's what I've done on each prompt, and I think it just adds a nice glow to it. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video and that it gave you a bit of an insight into my workflow and my drawing process. I am currently working on part 2 of this video where I'm going to be sharing with you the process for the artwork, The Little Mermaid, that I also did for this challenge, and try and give you again a bit more of an insight into my workflow. If you feel like you've missed out on this challenge and want to participate next year, make sure you put your name down on the waitlist and you'll be notified on everything related to the challenge. It's completely free to join and anyone is welcome to participate. I'm also currently working on Retro Sign Masterclass 2.0, and in this class I will be sharing with you absolutely all of my tips and tricks to create a nice composition, adding dimension, adding highlights, shadows, choosing your color palette, and making sure your lettering is highly legible and the main focus of your artwork. So if that's of interest to you, I'll leave the link down below to join the waitlist as well. In the meantime, feel free to check out my other online courses or my other videos on this YouTube channel. I have plenty of tutorials that you can check out for free. Once again, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions or anything you want me to clarify about my process, feel free to leave them in the comment section, and I'll see you guys in the next video.